20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Remember, we are live on DSTV channel 279. Well, let's begin from Labour front. Latest findings by the International Labour Organization reveal reserves of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SSNIT are likely to hit zero in 12 years. This, according to the ILO, puts prospective pensioners at risk of not receiving benefits of their SSNIT contributions from 2036. Here is a report by Judith Brown, who examines the findings and reports.
By 2036, pensioners may no longer reap the benefits of their SSNIT contributions. That's according to the International Labour Organization. Now, this follows the investigations conducted by the ILO on the long-term financial sustainability of the pension scheme managed by SSNIT. Well, according to findings, annual contributions are currently insufficient to cover all annual expenditures, leading to an over-reliance on investment income. Hence, the ILO projects a decline in the reserve from 2029 onward due to inadequacy of the total income, which includes contributions, investment income, and other sources. It further projects a total depletion of reserves by 2036, indicating a point where the scheme can no longer sustain itself without additional funding. A lack of reserve will only mean one thing, that SSNIT will have no other choice than to use all SSNIT contributions to pay benefits of pensioners after 2036. The latest findings have raised concerns amongst members of the public.
I don't think this will be helpful to the SSNIT contributors because me, for instance, I'm a young guy, and definitely as time goes by, I'm aging. I wouldn't want to be in a situation whereby I'll pay my SSNIT for over all these years, and by the time I get to 70, 80, I'll later find out that I'm not going to reap my benefits.
If we are making contributions and then when it's time for us to actually withdraw, there would be no money, then it actually tells that there's been a lot of economic mismanagement in the country at the moment. I know initially when SSNIT was established, they were doing very capital investments in terms of building SSNIT estates and then renting it out. If they can go back to the very basics and then reinvest properly, I have a feeling that this proposed chaos in 2036 may not actually happen.
For now, the International Labour Organization is recommending adjustments such as increasing contribution rates to ensure that the scheme remains viable in the long term. The compliance of SSNIT with the regulations is expected to be determined in the coming days. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Meanwhile, President of NAGRAT, Angel Kabonu, tells TV3 government interference in the management and running of SSNIT is to blame for the poor report on the future of pensions. Take a listen.
Government should hands off the management and administration of SSNIT and hand over SSNIT to the owners of SSNIT, who are the workers in this country, and ensure that monies that are supposed to be paid to SSNIT, all the arrears that is in government chest, government takes action, gives timetable to pay the monies back to SSNIT. Right. Again, the monies that should go to SSNIT on monthly basis should go adequately and timeously, so that government does not shortchange, and then to ensure that SSNIT also goes to both the local and the international market and invest the resources of workers prudently.
Away from issues relating to SSNIT, the Electoral Commission says it is disappointed in former President John Dramani Mahame's comment that seeks to denigrate the Commission. The EC, in a statement, accused the former President of using an international platform at the London School of Economics and Political Sciences to accuse the government of appointing only MPP people to head the Commission. It also kicked against comments by the former President, which suggests that the Electoral Commission presented only party apparatchiks as returning officers in the recently announced program. A statement signed by the Deputy Director of Research and Evaluation, Fred Tete, said the Commission rejects the unfounded allegation coming from the former President. And in more news this morning, first National Vice Chairman of the ruling MPP, Dankwa Smith-Bute, has admitted some areas in the Adjoso constituency have been hostile despite the ruling party's dominance over the years. He said the candidature of the former MPP MP, Kwabena Owusu-Eduomi, although poses a major threat, the MPP candidate stands the chance of retaining the seat.
New candidate, I'm talking about your parliamentary candidate. Has the campaign become a bit of difficulty because he's very new compared to Eduomi?
He's not new. He's the second vice chairperson of the constituency, so he's not new. Only that he's not more popular than that of Eduomi. Eduomi has been an MP for 3 times. For 3 times, so automatically he will get some followers. And our man Boateng is also having followers. But we are talking of MPP. So MPP people are going to vote for MPP candidates.
For the CPP, it is time to repeat the history of the 1960s. The Fourth Republic has not been favorable to their political fortunes in the Adjoso constituency. Internal wrangling has been the party's main bane. On Tuesday, a suit from an executive in the Ashanti region sought to discredit the party's candidate, Esther Osei.
I'm very, very sure of myself that on the 30th I will win the election. I have served me anything, so I'm just going on doing my campaign. I've not heard anything.
And the MPP in the Ladadi-Kotopon constituency goes to the polls on Saturday to elect a parliamentary candidate. The election follows the resignation of the candidate, Dr. Gerard Nyanyofio. 2 aspirant driver at the presidency, Joseph Ado, and MC for Ladadi-Kotopon, Solomon Kote-Nikoi, are contesting.
In September 2023, the MPP in the Ladadi-Kotopon constituency acclaimed Dr. Gerard Nyanyofio as the parliamentary candidate, but his decision to resign has opened up a contest for his replacement. The constituency covers areas such as Labadi, parts of Chado and Trade Fair, among others. The NDC's candidate for the 2024 election is incumbent Rita Odoli Soa. The contest on Saturday is between 2 aspirants. Joseph Ado is a driver at the presidency. His supporters say his selflessness and support to constituents will be rewarded during the election.
Me support Joseph Ado. Ejake efi ni bi sang iha Ibrahim Koblai ni jeno yakuchuemi lupainano ke he kumeife.
I support Joseph Ado because he has done a lot for the youth in this constituency and all over. Joseph Ado has done a really good job. He has given the constituency an extraordinary party office and he is brave and compassionate towards people. He wholeheartedly supports his people. He is doing what he is expected of. He is not yet the MP, but he performs the duties 100%. He's provided job opportunities in the immigration, police, army, customs, and many more. He is very brave and selfless. He has done a better job as compared to his predecessor, Namwale.
Good 12 years. Reverend Solomon Kote-Nikoi is the MC. He's upbeat about his chances.
The reason why they have to vote for me is because we have the NDC waiting, and I have a track record. We're going to compare track record. She's been MC before, and I've also been there, so we're going to compare track record. If you go with somebody without track record, the NDC woman is going to beat the person hands down. That is why they all know that I'm the best candidate for this contest.
Over 1,300 delegates are expected to cast their ballot on Saturday. Party officials in the constituency say all is set for the crucial election.
Yes, if God willing, everything is on course. Yesterday, for example, we called the constituents and we introduced the candidates to them. As we speak, letters has been dispatched to the police and then the EC. I'm sure by close of day they will receive their letter. So everything is on course, yes.
At the heart of the Ladadi-Kotopon constituency at Labadi, the New Patriotic Party is readying itself to wrestle this seat that it lost in the 2020 election back into its fold as one of the seats that it has in the Greater Accra region. Duke Bento Poku, TV3 News, Labadi, Ladadi-Kotopon constituency, Accra.
Well, let's know what you make of this very primary and other stories that have been aired so far. Go on to our social media platforms, Facebook particularly. We are live. Engage us with your comments, reservations and opinions, and we'll surely read them and share them to the rest of the world. Away from that, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Ekufu Dampare, says the police will deal decisively with those who threaten the country's peace and stability during the upcoming elections. He was addressing an organized labor ahead of this year's May Day celebrations.
The Inspector General of Police, Dr. Ekufu Dampare, emphasized the importance of peaceful elections despite public criticism of the security agencies.
We have to be very measured in our actions and inactions, particularly our utterances and interactions in terms of our reaction to other utterances. When that happens and we are measured in that way, we will just have to use a way to stop a chaotic situation.
The Executive Secretary of the Peace Council, George Amwa, stated that the Council will continue to establish a mechanism for monitoring.
We are going to go to places like Samba, places like Odududu here, Ashama. We are going to bring the candidates together for them to commit to a peaceful election before and after.
The leadership of organized labor has advocated for peace before, during, and after the general elections.
And that is why we are here this morning. We want peace in our country. Economically, we are not doing that good. We are really struggling, but at least we have peace.
Other speakers lauded the Ghana Police Service for its role in maintaining peace and order.
And now the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, has justified his order for the arrest of the regional manager of the electricity company on April 11. He cited security concerns on the power situation in the region and ECG's refusal to be forthcoming with information to the Regional Security Council as the reason for his action.
So on Wednesday, offices of the Electricity Company of Ghana were draped in red out of series of protests to force the Ashanti Regional Minister to accede to their demand and apologize for causing the arrest of their regional manager.
If he's not apologizing, someone should tell him to apologize. There are people who employed him and they knew what he did was wrong. And we have a lot of things to do. But if we get to the bridge, we will cross it.
But addressing the media, Simon Osei-Mensah rubbished the call, saying he will not apologize.
I apologize for doing my work as chairman of the security authority in the region. No, I am asking, do I have to apologize for doing my security work?
The minister justified why he directed the police to invite regional ECG groups.
I asked the police to invite engineer Mark Asumani Wiafi on security grounds because of the happenings in the electricity power sector in the region. And the fact that a task force can always come from outside to disconnect without the proper information. One of the other reasons why I decided that no, you have to write statement is the unfortunate situation that happened, for which bolts and nuts holding the metal frame to the concrete pillar of 8 pylons were removed. We invited them to come to the Regional Security Council so that we can look at the adequacy or otherwise of security measures that have been put in place at the various strategic installations of the ECG, which they failed to honor the invitation.
Simon Osei-Mensah indicated he will continue to be firm in discharging his work as the chairman of the Regional Security Council.
Nobody can stop me and the Regional Security Council from performing our security responsibilities as enshrined under the Constitution.
With the regional minister's decision not to apologize, both the junior and senior staff unions say they will have to meet again and reactivate the next phase of protest. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the first news bulletin of the day on TV3 right here on New Day. In more news this morning, a private legal practitioner, Pakpo Samoa Ado, and a senior governance advisor, Professor David Abdullahi, have urged Parliament to consider the passage of a law to have the spouses of President and Vice President recognized and paid by the state. This follows the Supreme Court's ruling that it is unconstitutional for spouses of the President and the Vice President to be paid by the state. Take a listen.
Spouses of the President and Vice President engage in beneficial activities for the country, have state-paid officers with staff, and are provided with state security escorts. In 2021, Parliament approved the Presidential Committee's recommendations on emoluments for Article 71 office holders, allowing the wives of the President and Vice President to receive allowances. But the Supreme Court on Wednesday ruled that it was unconstitutional. This private legal practitioner, Pakpo Samoa Ado, suggests that Parliament should consider whether or not to pass a law to have them recognized and paid by the state.
My clients were clear in their minds that the First Lady, Second Lady, with all due respect, even if they play whatever good roles they play or we perceive them to play, cannot be brought under Article 71. The office of the First Lady, Second Lady, are they public offices? Do we consider them necessary to be funded by taxpayers' money? If we do, then Parliament has to pass a law, a specific law that will deal with the spouses of First Ladies and Second Ladies. And probably we may want to look at expanding the scope, because then, of course, you have to look at the Speaker of Parliament. You have to look at the Chief Justice.
Senior governance advisor at the African Parliamentary Network, Professor David Abdullahi, also agreed to a law if necessary.
In most developed countries and in most countries, the first ladies do most of these things that other first ladies do in developing countries without having to recourse to state funds. I think they can raise their own funds and do that. Or the head of state or whoever is voted into power can find ways to come up with resources to help the first lady undertake volunteer work and other things that would enhance their presidency as well as the welfare of Ghanaians.
So what happens to the offices of the two spouses following the Supreme Court ruling?
I would suggest that those that are seconded from government agencies should go back to their agencies. Secondly, if the First Lady can have a small office where, those people that are seconded are paid by those organizations they are seconded from. And, they can raise their own resources to make sure that they can undertake their programs and projects that will support their husbands, the presidency, and things that will bring about goodwill in the country.
The debate surely is expected to persist until a suitable legislation is implemented. Evelyn Tengma, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, on that note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, is 3news.com. My name is Josh Quinn. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way, and have a good morning.